Want to support us but don't have the money? No worries. If you listen to the podcast using the Radio Public app for iOS or Android devices, you can help us keep the site running at no cost to you. Or if you want to make a one-time gift, you can do so via PayPal. Details under the Help the Site tab on audiodramareviews.com.
Project is a recent one that I've been enjoying a lot. I think that those guys are really onto something. I think that the Bright sessions have been burning through that, and that's great. Like some of that stuff is there's ambition in some of the sound design, but then if you listen to something like Bright, it's really just writing, and very light performance and very light sound design, and it's more about leaning on the strength of the narrative and the relationships between characters. It's nothing too fancy, it gets slightly more fancy as it goes on, and please no spoilers. I think I'm on episode 19 right now, so uh, yeah, more ambitious. I think that I just listened to the first episode where there's a part A and a part B, and so they tell it from one perspective, and I don't want to spoil anything either, but then and then part B is they tell it from another perspective. It's just in another room. I don't think that spoils anything to say that, but something like that where they're not even upping the sophistication in the sound design, but using a narrative device like that actually builds a sense of space, and builds a sense of like simultaneous timelines in a very, very simple and elegant way. So it's been really fun kind of diving through the stuff and seeing what everybody's up to, because there's a lot of ways to tell a good story.
Exactly, sure. What sort of genres would you like to see more of in the community of audio drama?
Ooh. I don't. I feel like a lot of the genres are getting covered. I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening with very sort of like niche storytelling that like everyone doesn't need to appeal to a broad audience. There's so many ways for direct funding with audiences and Patreon and Coffee and all those sort of ways where people can tell the stories that they want to tell, and they don't have to have necessarily a big broad hit. I don't think we've bumped up against the limit of the kinds of stories that people can tell yet. I can't think of any deficiencies. You tell me, is there something that you're like, oh man, like someone really needs to do something like this, or someone needs to adapt this kind of primary text? Like what do you feel like we need out there?
I'd say we have plenty of science fiction, as like your podcast, for example.
Yeah.
Not a lot of fantasy, oddly enough. There's like some fantasy elements here and there, but not so much like a general Tolkien or a modern day fantasy, I guess. The closest that comes to mind is Once and Future Nerd. Other than that, I can't think of any decisive, popular, that kind of stuff of podcasting. So,
what about Tales from the Magic Tavern? Would you consider those guys fantasy, or does the comedy undermine it?
That's a good question. I've not listened to the podcast, but I've heard much about it. It's definitely on my list of podcasts to check out when my queue gets a little bit more less and less daunting, I guess. So yeah, in terms of comedy, I'd say it's hard to decide whether or not the comedy affects the fantasy or other way around, I guess. So
yeah, something that I've been thinking about recently, with a lot of the audio dramas that I've been listening to, the characterizations are very sort of close to reality. They have different characters, but when you start bringing in fantasy and you start bringing in different races and sub-races and fantastical beasts and all that stuff, you need a different kind of performance from people. That's sort of, you need orcs and you need dragons and you need people to voice these things in a particular way. So yeah, I'm interested to see good examples of that. I've been trying to to find some of that, the kind of non-human performances. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Going on that topic, are there the trends in audio drama you wish would just go away, or like that run its course for you?
I think that there are specific examples maybe better quality and lesser quality, of specific kinds of characters, specific kinds of storytelling, specific kinds of sound design. But I can't think of anything that would, as a trend, that I've found frustrating or that has left me wanting more. What about you? Is there something that you've heard recently that you're like, all right, enough is enough. Like, we don't need any more of this.
Sure, I'm like you in that regard. Basically, reason I brought it up is because I'm part of a Facebook group for the podcast movement 2018. It's in Philadelphia this year, in this July, I think.
Oh,
And
yes, yes. I've been speaking with Jared. Very nice guy, the founder. Yeah, great guy.
so one of the not comments, but one of the posts on there asks mention Ars Paradoxica, which I have not listened to yet, but again, it's on my queue of things to listen to. And he said something along the lines of, "Why do so many audio drama podcasts go with the obvious found footage format?" And it got me thinking about, like, all right, so what successful shows out there do the found footage format but aren't obvious about it? Like, so obvious filming device, like in Bright Sessions or in what's the one, Wolf 359.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying, what are good examples where they kind of obscure the mechanism of the recording?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, it can be messy. I mean, you see it happen with cinema as well. It's really hard to pull off, especially once that third act starts happening and there's action and you're like, dude, why are you still holding this camera? Guy in Cloverfield. There's like aliens attacking you. You probably should have dropped the camera a while ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it should be a challenge to everybody to work it into the story in such a way that makes narrative sense, because it can definitely take the listener or the watcher out of it if you're asking basic questions about, like, why is this mic still on? Why is this guy still carrying his tape recorder or whatever?
How do you think the setting will influence or hinder the creativeness of the creative team on your Podcamp project?
Well, we kind of split everybody into two teams, and so I'm running the narrative team. Patrick is running the production team, and obviously there's going to be a lot of bleed, and there's going to be a lot of improvisation between role switching and what just needs to get done. As you know, if you've ever been part of a creative project, like, things don't always go as planned.
Yep.
So my job is to make sure that the thing gets written, rehearsed, and recorded, essentially, if we're looking at it in a silo. And his job is to make sure that it gets recorded, edited, mixed, released, and that kind of stuff. So we're very serious about kind of the methodology and the workflow. We're both project managers, and this comes as a creative impulse, but we also are very interested in the nitty gritty of, like, how to control workflow, how to control how people are spending their time, because the time is going to go really quick. So we are trying to answer as many of those questions ahead of time so that people know what they're walking into, and they can, to whatever degree as possible, relax and write and create and have fun and flesh out the characters and do that stuff, knowing that there's a framework that's going to support them, and that if they're on one particular team, if they're on the narrative team, they don't need to worry about the production side of stuff. Let's just make the best thing. Let's just write the best thing that we can. And if they're on the production team, you don't need to worry about it getting written, because there's going to be pages coming down that are going to be, like, really, really good, and there's going to be characterizations that are really good. So the environment is going to be very, very hardworking, but we don't want it to be tense. We want it to be fun, and I think it's possible even in highly productive work environments, to create a scenario that is highly calibrated but not tense.
Anything else you want to tell the audience about Podcamp or where to find you guys, that kind of stuff?
By this point, our team will have been assembled. You can follow us on Twitter at PodcampX. You can follow us. You can go check out our website, podcamp.cc. There's hopefully there's going to be a lot of chances to communicate with us. It's not just about the team we're assembling. It's about all the people that aren't going to be able to come. Our team is going to be 8 to 10 people this round. And again, we've already had over 30 apply, so we're not going to be able to take all of them with us.
Sure.
And then we also consider ourselves a part of the larger audio drama community, and so we want to hear what everybody's up to. We want to hear what creators and people who are fans and people who are writing about this stuff. There's this great emerging dialogue going on. There's this of writers and critics and people trying to get everybody to kind of like up their game and encourage them and but also ask more of them. And I think that's an important part. This isn't just T-ball. It's very inclusive, but like but there's a good balance, I feel like, in the community right now of inclusivity but also rigor and the desire for creators to get better as they release more seasons, release more episodes. So yeah, I guess we're just happy to be part of this genre and this community, because it's something really special. I was telling Ellie from Bello Collective that audio drama Twitter is like what Twitter was supposed to be.
Sure.
Where it's like a bunch of like-minded people engaging in discourse, celebrating work, kicking ideas back around, having spirited debate, not trolling each other, just kind of celebrating a form. And so we just feel really privileged to be a small part of the conversation, and hopefully help lift some other people up too, as people are paying attention to what we're doing. We want to celebrate people who are doing cool stuff as well, and hopefully work with them someday as well.
Gotcha. So that's basically it for this episode. Again, you can visit them at podcamp.cc. And Chris, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. My email address is chris@podcamp.cc. Anybody can reach out to me anytime, whether you applied or not. Happy to have a conversation.
All right, very nice. So that is it, and we will see you next Audio Drama Sunday.
Introducing Archivos, the story mapping and development tool for today's storytellers. With Archivos, storytellers don't just document the characters, places, and events of their stories. They define the relationships between those story elements and then visualize those connections through unique story mapping interfaces like the living map, the timeline, and the story web. By giving storytellers the ability to see and interact with that network of story elements, Archivos helps ensure story comprehension and continuity, while providing a dramatic and engaging way for fans to explore the story worlds they love. Learn more about Archivos at www.archivos.digital. That's ARCHIVOS.digital. Archivos, your stories illuminated.
Next time on Audio Drama Reviews.
Hi everyone, Mike Berganzi here. Just wanted to let you know that there will be no new review episode in 2 or 3 weeks. Instead, I'll be doing a pod essay of sorts. Think video essay on YouTube, but in podcast form. There was a review on the site today. It was written by Zane Sexton, so you can check that out there. The next episode will also be a Zane review, and will also be text only. New review episodes will resume on July 1st with Edict Zero FIS Season 2. If you aren't aware, we have a Discord channel. As of this recording, we have talked loosely about the Black Tapes and 2298. If you'd like to visit our Discord, just follow us on Twitter at Audiodrama News, and then look at the pinned post on our profile. Thanks for listening. Have a great Audio Drama Sunday. Hey, Mike Berganza here, founder of Audio Drama Reviews. If you like what you heard, consider following us on Twitter and Facebook, subscribing to our YouTube and SoundCloud channels, and last but not least, our Patreon and iTunes accounts. Links to all those in the episode description. Have a great Audio Drama Sunday. Did you know you can read these reviews before they're released on the feed? Sign up for our email list and get new reviews delivered straight to your inbox. You'll be the first to know about new content coming to the site. Thanks for listening.